Hello, dear friends. In today's video, I will show my game against another legendary player, Dutch legend, and very strong chess player, uh, Loek Van Wely. Second round of French team championship. Let's go. So he started the game with d4. Um, yes, he could play, and he was playing many different first moves. So I did not prepare much because he had in database a lot of games. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6, g3, d5, bishop g2. Yes, here I could go, for example, bishop e7 uh, and classical Catalan. Yes, d takes c here gives extra option to white with queen a4 check. So I played bishop b4 and I was expecting bishop d2, bishop e7. But my opponent went knight d2. Of course, here d takes c does not really work because of queen a4 and black is simply losing bishop on b4. Short castle knight f3. Here d takes c move is possible and the most principal move. Yes, but Uh, white is having, of course, queen c2 or short castle. Lines are very complicated. Yes. For that reason, I decided to play like very solid chess without allowing much to my opponent. So I played b6, short castle, bishop b7, knight e5. And here I was choosing between knight c6 and queen c8. Yes. And eventually I played knight c6. Some years back, I played the same position for white side against Sargsyan. And the trick is being, let's say, if queen a4, black is simply going bishop d6 and knight c6, queen e8. Yes. And black is, of course, taking back knight on c6. Let's say queen a4, bishop d6, yes, takes, and queen e8. And my opponent here confused me with c takes d. For example, I could simply go e takes d, let's say knight d to f3. Let's say I did not take e takes d because of knight f3, and it's a playable position. Yes, but here I saw that I have opportunity of taking on e5 and going knight d5. Because e4 ideas are not really dangerous for black, always knight is going to e7, and later on knight can join the game through g6 or c6 squares. Yes, but here my opponent played knight f3. Of course, I saw it. I went bishop e7, stopping all kind of knight or bishop g5 moves. Here a3. Of course, he is threatening to go e4 and trap my knight on e5. And another uh, idea which white is having, we will see very soon. Yes. For example, here, modern engines are just showing c5. I did not play it, not because of e4, because after e4 I can just go knight c7 and slowly bring my knight to b5. Yes, I did not play because of queen a4. And now the unpleasant threat is being that white is transferring the queen to g4 square. But engines are telling that queen e8, queen g4, and king h8, and all kind of knight g5, bishop g5, or h4 ideas are not at all dangerous for black. So I played b5, queen d4, and here again I could go knight b6, queen g4, king h8, and black does not have any problems. And my idea of going b5 was to go h5. I know it does look very weird, and my teammates, when I went h5, they were surprised and worried very much. But my point was, I'm threatening to go c5. I'm controlling all the squares on fourth rank, and if you don't get your queen on king side, then black is doing fine. But of course, here my opponent found the strongest g4, and after c4, c5, queen e4, and surprisingly, nothing is working here for black. For example, h takes g, you just white just takes queen g4, and threats are there, like bishop h6. If you go h4, then g5 is there. I was thinking to go something like knight c3, queen takes b7, knight takes c2, king h1, and here let's say h takes g, but white simply retreats the knight to g1, let's say. I was also thinking about to go rook b8. uh, yes, now queen e4 move is not possible, but let's say even queen a6 is enough. Also, I was thinking about queen takes a7, let's say rook a8, something given queen takes a8, because now if queen takes a8, b takes c works. If this, king goes h1, and surprisingly here, knight d4 or knight g1 works. And I was very much worried. That's why I already played queen a5 with the intention to go queen a4 and trade the queens, because if opponent gets my h5 pawn or gets g file, then it can be very dangerous. So knight g5, the strongest move, bishop g5, queen a4. Another mistake here, I could, the best would have been h4. And if bishop h4 already, uh, white even, black can even go queen a4. Uh, During the game, I thought that doubled pawns on h5 are in my favor, but as we will see, it's not even close to that. So queen a4, and let's say here g takes h would have been even stronger. My opponent took g takes h, bishop a6, and this is like better, between much better and better for white. E4, knight b6, bishop b6. We found a few important moves, rook c1, and here I made another mistake. During the game, I thought that it will be better for black for me to go bishop d3 and then reinforce my bishop on d3 with c4, but surprisingly, it's the opposite. Yes, I could just go knight d7. White is better, of course. White is pawn up, and but it's not much. So bishop d3, another mistake. Yes, rook e3, c4, f4, king h7. And for example, here bishop b4 would have been stronger, because after bishop f3, I could go a5, stopping all bishop b4 ideas, but I did not realize. I played rook d8, and this is like very unpleasant, close to lost. Bishop b4, bishop b2. He played bishop e2 because I might threaten some knight b8, knight c6 ideas. So bishop e2 takes, yes, bishop d6, rook c3. I'm in huge trouble. Yes, my opponent uh, tries to double his rooks on g file and attack g7. So that's why rook d8, to have always rook g8 ideas after rook g3. Yes, rook g8, protecting the pawn on g7. Yes, bringing the king to queenside. Yes, I played rook b8, and here my opponent, it was time control. It was 14th move for him, and he could just take king c4, and after rook g c8, king d4, and black does not have anything. So he was slightly worried of getting king on d4. That's why I played king c2, and again I'm getting some hopes, but it's like very unpleasant position. And yes, I did not see anything better than going king h6, but surprisingly f5 is very strong. Rook e8. Yes, I was thinking here also to go uh, yes, which move I was thinking about. Rook c3, king c3. Yes, I was thinking e takes f, knight b6 with the ideas to go knight d5, but I did not like because of some rook b2 even move. I also saw another line which was important, but no. Yes, here rook e8, f takes c. Yes, rook takes. Yes, here I could take rook takes c3, king takes c3, rook e6 with the ideas to take knight e5. For example, king c4, knight e5 is there, but king d4, yes, white has. And my point was to go f6. Now, if he takes f, then rook d6, and if king d5, I have rook e8. And my point is being if e6, then knight b6 check. But I did not play it because of uh, I think it was some king c5 and rook e6. No, not king c5. Maybe it was king d4, and if rook e6, bishop f8. Yes. So eventually I took rook e6, rook c4, knight e5, rook takes a4, rook b7, bishop f8, f6, and here my opponent could go. We already crossed 14th move, and again we are in time trouble. And during the game, I saw this insane tactical idea of rook a5. Of course, um, while playing f6, I saw that knight c4 tactical ideas are there, but surprisingly, rook b7 just finishes the game because now let's say uh, rook g7, there is rook a7, knight takes a5, there is rook b7. And for example, if you go rook b2, king c3, and you take there, the problem is that rook a7 finishes the game. So it forces you to go king g5 or king h5, rook takes a5 with the check, and white is also taking on b2. Yes, my opponent did not see it. He went king b1. Still, position is uh, much better for him. Rook e8, bishop d6. We repeat it, and he went bishop c5, knight c6, and here bishop e3 he played. He could go rook c2, king h5, bishop d6, and again black is in huge trouble. So bishop e3 takes. Yes, rook c2, rook e6, and slowly I'm getting because it was, as you can see, we both were in huge time trouble, having few minutes. Yes, and I managed to slowly get some counterplay. King b6, bishop e1, interesting move. Bishop goes to g3 to reinforce h2 pawn, knight e5. Yes, he took, but I already saw that knight f3 I'm jumping. Now h2 pawn is hanging, bishop is hanging, and here knight d2, knight takes e4. And of course, I could probably take and try to go king h5 with f5 ideas, but rook e7 is also enough. I saw from the distance that the rook b4, I just take rook b7. Pawn is hanging, king b3 is not possible because of knight c5. You don't really want to go rook a4, and if bishop e1, there is rook h7. And here tactical idea of rook h2 works because king e4, there is rook e2. And here yes, I could go knight d1, which would make much easier um, uh, the idea to get a draw. Knight g4 I played, bishop c3, and now it's really hard to stop this b pawn, but I managed to go knight e5 and start pushing my own g pawn. So b5, g3, and if b6, g2 comes, so that's why my opponent took. He took rook e5, and here after rook e1, he offered me draw. Of course, I can take on b2. He goes with his king closer to b pawn, and then of course we are trading g pawn. He will sacrifice his rook or trade with the g pawn, and the same will happen with my rook for b pawn. Yes, such a game, such a classy game by my opponent. Uh, Out of the opening, he outplayed me. He got winning position, but It was not a force win for him, and slowly I was finding some good moves. And when it was really close, um, when he was very close to finish the game, he was at that time already in time trouble, and that helped me to survive. Thank you very much, dear friends, for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and I will make more videos from a French team championship, and hope to see your comments. Thank you very much.